All right, it is Oscar Sunday, one of my favorite days out of the year, next to the NFL draft. Let's get started right away. Let's not waste any time. So I have spent probably 2 to 3 weeks going over, in the very small amount of spare time that I've had, going over my predictions for, I like to call the Big Five. And that's Best Director, Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, and Best Screenplay, whether it's original or adapted. I'm also going to give you my Best Animated Feature prediction, too. It's not a good year for Best Animated Feature. So anyway, let's get started right away. So my pick right away for Best Animated Feature would be Coco. It's a really off year this year for the animated features. I think Boss Baby's in there. And there's just, I think the movie called Ferdinand's in there. I saw them and I wasn't too crazy about them. And I only watched them just basically for this video. So I'm going to go with Coco because I thought that was a pretty cool story. Very kind of new type story. So I'm going to pick Coco, but I don't even know. So anyway, I'm going to go from probably least popular to most popular Academy Awards here. So the next one I'll say is probably going to be the Best Adapted Screenplay. The difference between Best Original Screenplay and Best Adapted Screenplay. Best Original was written with a novel approach. It has not been touched before. It has not been written before. Maybe got some ideas from some other stories, but it's all you. It's all written originally. And then Best Adapted Screenplay is obviously something from a book, and someone wrote it for a screenplay itself for dialogue between many characters or just one character. So the Best Adapted Screenplay, I think that's going to go to Call Me By Your Name. There was some excellent acting in that movie. It wasn't my favorite of the year, but I think Call Me By Your Name will win. For Best Original Screenplay, I was really, really big on the movie Lady Bird, and I think it was written and directed by Greta Gerwig, who was also nominated for Best Director, which we'll get to later. I think I think Lady Bird's going to win Best Original Screenplay. The next one will be Best Actress. Really excited to see what happens here. I think if you're a betting person, you're probably going to go Frances McDormand. Who I'd like to see is Saoirse Ronan from Lady Bird. She was amazing in that. But I think Frances McDormand's going to win. But I would like to see Saoirse Ronan win that. For Best Supporting Actress, sort of a secondary character in the movie, or second to a protagonist character. The Best Supporting Actress, it better go to Allison Janney for I, Tonya. She played Tonya Harding's mom, Lavana, and she was absolutely amazing in this movie. And Allison Janney's been around for like 25, 30 years, so I think she's paid her due, just like someone who I'm going to pick for Best Actor later. So I'm hoping Allison Janney wins for sure. But I will say, as a note, there is an Oscar nomination this year for a Netflix movie that went straight to Netflix and did not go into theaters, called Mudbound, which I thought was really crazy and something definitely new. And that was Mary J. Blige, who is a R&B rapper. So it's really cool that she was nominated for a movie that went to Netflix. So I thought it was really cool. But she's a long shot. So for Best Actor, right away, I have to go with Gary Oldman for his portrayal of Winston Churchill in the movie The Darkest Hour. The movie was pretty solid itself, and with him, it made it absolutely solid. He was excellent in this movie. And I hate to say it, but this is Daniel Day-Lewis's last movie, according to him, in that movie Phantom Thread, and I did not like that movie whatsoever. So I don't think he's going to get his 4th Oscar tonight. Although he's probably the greatest of all time. So I hate to see him go as an actor, but I don't think he's going to finish going out on top. I think he's probably going to lose to Gary Oldman tonight. So I'm going to pick Gary Oldman. For Best Supporting Actor, this was a tough one for me because I thought, I thought all of them were pretty good nominations. I thought Richard Jenkins was kind of a stretch for The Shape of Water, and I also did not like that movie. I thought there was other people that could have been nominated than him. I thought maybe even Dave Franco from Disaster Artist could have been nominated. I thought he was excellent in Disaster Artist. But I'm going to pick Sam Rockwell. He did win a Golden Globe And that sometimes is an indicator, but I don't like to be biased with that. But I really loved his character in Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. He was amazing. So I'm going to pick Sam Rockwell. But I think there's a close second with Willem Dafoe from the Florida Project, which I loved. That was one of my favorite movies this year. And he was such a normal, great guy in the Florida Project, and Willem Dafoe usually plays someone different and creepy sometimes. So it was kind of cool to see him play a real earnest role. But I'm going to go with Sam Rockwell. So that leads me to Best Director and Best Picture. So I'll go Best Director. I want Greta Gerwig to win because I love Lady Bird. And I keep saying Lady Bird for a reason, which you'll see in the near future. Why? But I have to say, for the movies that I've seen, you know, it's Christopher Nolan for Dunkirk, Jordan Peele for Get Out, Greta Gerwig for, you know, Lady Bird, Paul Thomas Anderson for Phantom Thread, and then, of course, Guillermo del Toro for The Shape of Water. I saw all 5 of the movies, and for what I watched and for how hard probably the directing had to be, it's got to either be Christopher Nolan for Dunkirk or it's got to be Guillermo del Toro for The Shape of Water. I will have to go with Guillermo del Toro just because how he had to direct that movie had to be so difficult. And I know Christopher Nolan's, that had to be so difficult too with all the extras and the soldiers, but I really think Shape of Water had to be so difficult to direct because it was based in the 60s too, and they had to have everything perfect in time, and there was a lot of one-shot sequences, which I thought were really cool. Now, Dunkirk was also filmed to be depicted a long time ago too, in the 40s, but I just thought, I think the shot for Shape of Water had to be a lot harder. So I'm going to say Guillermo del Toro. And for Best Picture, if they asked me just to pick, I would say Lady Bird. I thought it was an outstanding movie. But I think, because Oscars always like to go political, I actually think The Post might win tonight. And I really hope it doesn't, because I was so bored of it. But my hope is it's Lady Bird, and I want it to be Lady Bird, and I'm going to say it's going to be Lady Bird, but I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be The Post, unfortunately. So I'm saying Lady Bird, but there's a great chance The Post will win. But again, my biggest gripe is, where is the disaster artist in all these, you know, nominations? I mean, James Franco was outstanding. He could have been up for Best Director. You know, I don't think Jordan Peele for Get Out should have been there. I thought Get Out was an awesome movie, but I don't think it was for the Academy Awards. Although there's been other horror movies of the genre that have won an Oscar. I think there's like 16, 18 that have, so that's cool and all, but I like the movie, but not enough for this. And I think James Franco and Dave Franco and everyone in the disaster artist kind of got hosed. Because it could have been Best Picture too. I loved it. I was thrilled with it when I was done with it. So I'm anxious for this. I love this Sunday. You know, I'm a big fan of the Oscars, and you know, this is one of my favorite days. So I'm really excited to see what happens. So I hope you guys watch. I hope you guys like this video, and if you have any comments, please put them down in the comment box, and I will absolutely respond. All right. Thank you very much.